Okay. Well, I suppose we can get started. So I think as I'm looking at the people in this room, I think I basically know everyone. I don't think there's anyone here that really doesn't know me. So I don't need to do any. I don't think I need to really introduce myself or anything like that. So if this is being posted online, well, hello, people watching the recording. This is our first monthly meeting for people following this course I put together on how to learn a language and or who are in the beta test group, I suppose. And so we have our Discord chat group, and of course we have our monthly meetings here. And so basically our plan for today is thought that for the first 15 or so minutes we can do a bit of a progress check so we can see where people are at, get a summary of what you've learned so far, and basically share what you'll be working on over the next month or so. I suppose at the same time, maybe if you can share one or two things that you've been struggling with in your target language, we can do it all at once. And then we can get input from the group on maybe some things that can help you to solve that. I'm going to share my screen and let's just keep a running list. Let's open up a Google Doc here. There we go, and share. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, perfect, good, awesome. So why don't we start with Simon. So tell us first, what language are you learning?
I'm learning French.
Nice. And give us like a quick summary of what you've worked on over the past month and any progress you feel you've made over the past month.
Sure. Okay. I'm a level, I guess A2 probably. I've really been trying to focus mostly on oral comprehension.
Okay.
I practice reading. I read more simple texts. I've gotten into the habit of reading jokes. Because I find that the response is immediate. So if I don't respond right away, it means I can measure my comprehension. So I read jokes in French. But most of my focus is on oral comprehension lately, just because it's the part of the whole thing that I'm lagging in. So I will listen to videos. I'll watch some grammar videos, but I've seen in some of your posts before you talk about being overwhelmed by the amount of information out there. So I do try to stay very focused to a few sources, and I listen to children's stories. Sometimes I'll read an article and then watch the video. By reading it, I know what they're talking about, and then it gives me a little bit of confidence when I'm watching it, and I can kind of match my reading with my oral comprehension. But sometimes I get a little overwhelmed and frustrated, especially if I go a little deeper and I try to watch, news or a movie. I have a bad habit of trying to capture every word and not letting myself just take the whole thing in and trying to measure what I get. So that's basically where I'm at. Yeah.
Cool. Anything specific? You're like, man, I've really been struggling with this, and I'd love some input from other people.
Gee, well, with what I've been, I guess I can't think of anything really specific. I've been working on my past tenses and future tenses. I think I'm getting those. But my thing is just to be able to hear something and kind of sort of automatically know what it is. I know that sounds really vague. I'm sorry, I'm not specific on it, but yeah, I guess I'm just in the middle of you just got to work through it until it just clicks one day, I suppose. But I'm keeping the material that I'm listening to on a simple level, so I'm not getting too frustrated. But that's about as specific as I can kind of articulate.
Sure, that's fine. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, and then
Thank you.
yeah, well, thanks for sharing. Cool. why don't we go to what we'll even do for actually what we'll even do is I'll let someone volunteer if they want to come on and they want to like share what they've been doing. If others want to type it in the chat, we can kind of do two at the same time. We can get two things done at once. Otherwise, I think we'll be here a very long time just going through everyone's updates actually as I'm thinking about this. So, okay, anyone else want to start? Anyone else want to share? Go ahead. You can unmute yourself and others can type in the chat while the next person speaks.
I'll share, Azren.
Sure.
So I recently retired about 2 months ago, so I finally have time to actually work on my Spanish properly. The last month I've been doing a lot of Duolingo and a lot of other random things online. But I decided I actually need some more, like I've been trying to learn more by osmosis so I can just absorb and speak with a little more confidence. So I have a language partner that I talk to for hour and a half twice a week. She's in the UK, and I actually met her on the Language Nerd Sunday morning classes. So that was quite awesome.
Who
Yeah, and then her name is Nina Bellis. She's in the southern UK.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I know her.
Yeah, she was only in, I think, about 4 times, but we're the exact same level and we have so much fun just blabbing Spanish randomly. But now I've decided I need more grammar and more grounding. So I did a placement test with Andrew Barr at Real Fast Spanish the other day, and I'll be taking up one of their courses starting in July, which is 2 hours a week meeting and homework and a bit more of the actual structure stuff I need. I'm sort of at a point where I'm doing fine, but I'm getting frustrated not being able to express different verb tenses and things and get to it deeper. And I'm moving to Colombia in August, so I have to really bump it up.
Cool.
So that's about it. A couple hours a day.
Great, good stuff. Who else wants to go?
I'll say for my
Hello.
French. Oh, sorry. Hi everyone.
Go ahead, Sam.
My name's Sam. I'm from Los Angeles. One thing specifically I have trouble with is in French. I feel like generally speaking, I'm a B1, but my listening comprehension is a little weak. Quite frankly, when a native speaker is speaking at a normal speed, it is still a little tough for me. And what I'm doing to remedy that is I listen to lots of mini stories, both while I'm reading and the narrator's reading to me, and while I'm driving as like passive listening, and just kind of put in the hours until it clicks. So that's something specifically that I have trouble with in a language I've been studying for a while now, on and off. So I've been doing French on and off for 4 years. And another, do you mind if I give you another one?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So for Egyptian Arabic, which I kind of just started a month and a half ago, the pronunciation is like almost impossible given, like, unless I have a private tutor like helping me at this point. I know it's early, but the vowels can just sound like so different. And so I will have to learn more like mini rules with regards to that. So I'll just say Egyptian Arabic pronunciation, yeah, and especially vowels.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else? I'll open the floor. See one.
I can go.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi. So my name is Kiki, and I've been learning Spanish for about 3 years now. I have a daughter who goes to a bilingual school, so it's really important for me to learn the language so I can assist her with her homework. Right now, I would say my entire journey, I really came to the conclusion of learning how to learn is absolutely critical, and figuring that out quickly in order to like not waste your time. I really decided that grammar and using a textbook actually works best for me instead of trying to do things like listen to the radio and watching movies, reading subtitles. It's really not for me, even though it does help. But really understanding the language, I find that it clicks much faster for me. I get a bigger story. So right now, my main focus with Spanish is just feeling comfortable to speak. I realize that maybe my vocabulary is not as high as I want because I can't express myself at the level that I want to. And when I do language exchange, I just easily fall back into English, just so I can continue the conversation. So what am I doing to kind of help myself do that? I take online classes every day, Monday through Friday, for about 2 hours.
Wow.
Which goes through grammar, but there is a time during those classes where it's just speaking. Right now, I am focusing on directs and indirect object pronouns, my preterite and imperfect tenses and future tenses, and just getting myself comfortable speaking with those tenses is like what I'm trying to do. So just talking in the house, like even if it's to myself about what I'm doing at that time, trying to say it in both tenses, like I'm going to do this or I did this. Like I try to do that and then I correct myself if it's incorrect or not. So those are the things that I'm been
Cool.
focusing on.
Perfect. I see a couple people typed in the chat, so let me add these in here too. All right, anyone else want to go?
I can go.
Go ahead.
I'm Robin. I'm from Scotland, and my target language is Spanish. I learned it in high school, but then kind of gave up for a couple of years. So now I'm starting back since October. The biggest problem for me is definitely my speaking. I think my other skills are kind of, improving as the days go on, but speaking is always kind of stuck. So I've been trying to, maybe sentences that I see in English, I'm thinking of them in my head in Spanish, and then I'll maybe say them to myself or in the mirror in Spanish. Or, maybe start randomly singing songs. I've been listening to more songs in Spanish, watching more things in Spanish to sort of try and make my listening comprehension turn into sort of speaking skills, if that makes sense. Listening is another thing that's sort of poor for me. So I've been watching more things. I watched a movie actually in Chilean Spanish 2 weeks ago, and I understood everything, which I thought was a great achievement. But yeah, I would say definitely speaking is the worst thing for me. I actually do Spanish at uni, and so we're making more of an effort to go into like breakout rooms and speak to each other more through that. And last week I actually done a class with some Colombian students. They're like trying to pass something for uni, so they have to do like a language exchange, and so they were teaching me Spanish, and the whole time I had to speak Spanish, of course. And that was good to get me out of the comfort zone, because that's something I tend to do, is stick in my comfort zone. I have a lot of friends who speak Spanish, but I never actually bother to speak to them in Spanish. And they're always like, you have to push yourself, but I never quite do that. So hopefully I can start getting the confidence to get out of my comfort zone soon.
Okay, cool. Let me paste a couple of these ones that were typed in the chat. All right, someone else, actually, let me actually catch up on this chat before someone else starts, otherwise I'll fall behind. Okay, so Amy. And then we have, and these is talking, Kate, Emily. This is Arabic, Lebanese Arabic. And Joni, perfect. Joni. Whoa, there we go. And various languages. Okay. Anyone else would like to share that didn't do so in the chat or orally?
Hello, I would like to share.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Jaime. I'm from El Salvador. I'm a Spanish native speaker, and I've been learning English.
Oh,
Now it's like a year and a half, something like. And well, at the beginning, I tried to learn going to or learning at local academies,
mhm.
but I found it very frustrating because academies, I think, are most like not really concerned to help people. It was a very bad experience, I would say that way. And then I told myself, okay, I think it's better to go on my own. I mean, trying to figuring this out. Then I started doing like reading. I think was like the very first thing I started doing. Then I found italki like a year ago, and I started taking classes with an English native speaker. And right now, I've been doing like a lot of things. For example, I do listening for an hour every day. I try to speak like with a lot of people. For example, I have 2 lessons per week with my teacher on italki. Also, I have a language partner. She's from Indonesia, and we talk for something like about 4 hours per week.
Wow.
Plus, I got another 2 language partners here in this group, and I found that very good. Have like 2 more language partners, so I have 3 language partners and a teacher. And also, I try to read at least 30 minutes per day. And well, listening, I guess I already said that. But I'm doing like a lot of things because I would like to use English on a daily basis on a future job. That's what I'm doing, and I really enjoy like experiences. And right now, related to the course, I just watched like 4 videos, and I started from the very beginning to see if I maybe I lost something on my process. But most of all, I've been doing all on my own.
Okay. Perfect. Good. Let me check the chat here. I think I see one in the chat. Oh, yes. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, I'm Sibylla. I live in the UK, originally German, but I've been living here for 22 years. I'm currently learning mainly Polish, but still trying to keep up my Greek, which I started many, many years ago, and which I've got to a kind of higher A2, lower B1 level. And I've started learning Dutch, which is also, well, being a native German speaker for me should be quite easy. Sometimes it's a bit more confusing than anything else. Now, I've got different approaches for different languages. I mean, in Dutch, for example, I simply started learning a little bit with a textbook, and then I got myself a language partner a Dutch guy who is learning German, and we do half an hour in German, half an hour in Dutch, and I just learn it through speaking and trial and error. And that actually works quite well for a language which is very close to my mother tongue. Polish, I find a lot more challenging because it's so different, and the pronunciation and the grammar, especially the grammar, actually, I found that the pronunciation is not so bad once you get the hang of how it works. I started with a textbook and soon got really frustrated because there was just too much grammar and too much theory. And so I started doing mainly apps. So I do Duolingo, and then the language course from Babbel, and also something called Mango Languages, which I quite like, which is a bit repetitive, but somehow it sticks better. And I do a lot with my ears, really. I'm a very auditive learner. And so hearing the stuff again and again and again has really helped me. At the moment, I'm still struggling a little bit with the speaking side. I'm trying to remedy that by like just trying to say little things to myself or to my cat or whatever. Even started recording little things, little very basic sentences and stuff, so I can listen to myself as well. Yeah, and so I'm trying to overcome some shyness with speaking. It's funny. I mean, if I meet somebody who speaks, what do I know, Spanish or Italian, which I've been doing for many, many years, I just talk and that's it. Yeah. In Greek, I need to listen a little bit and then I can talk. In Dutch, I can talk. But in Polish, I've got this, I don't know, some kind of barrier, yeah, to find the confidence to say something. Just because I'm constantly thinking, is that the right ending? And how do you say that? And then suddenly the Greek word comes to my mind. So, language interference as well. Yeah, that doesn't help. But it's just that in that particular language, my biggest challenge is actually to get speaking. Yeah. Beyond just saying good morning, good afternoon, thank you, and goodbye in the Polish shop when I go shopping.
Great. All right. Anyone else? I've sort of lost track if we got everyone or not, or if there's some people that maybe didn't want to share. I'm not sure, but
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
yeah, we can hear you, Laura.
Hello? Okay. Hi. So I'm Laura and I have been studying French, I think, for the past 4 years. It was a mandatory subject in high school. Until maybe second year when people could opt for other languages or practicals. So my speaking from the very beginning was pretty okay. I got a hang of it really fast, and that's how basically I managed to be comfortable in the language. So in terms of reading, speaking, audio comprehensions, using like Cambridge papers, it was pretty easy for me. But most of my struggles came when it came to the general structure of the language, like the grammatical errors I made were quite common. I can also say maybe sentence construction was part of the problem as well.
Okay. Okay, got it. Cool. I think I saw someone else type in the chat here. All right. Anyone
Sorry
else?
about that.
Not sure if your internet's cut out, Laura, or if you're done
Okay.
talking.
No, I wasn't. Sorry. My network dropped a bit. And then, yeah, I think that's basically it for French. I'm not sure where I can say I was classified as in terms of the formal, way of leveling like A1, A2 or whatever. But according to my teachers, I was pretty good. And the last year, I was actually supposed to write exams, but unfortunately, because of COVID, I couldn't do so.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then the other language that I started learning was German. German, I started learning around the same time I started learning French, but with French, I had done it 2 years prior to high school as well, but at beginner level, primary school. So I started German, I think, when I was about, safely, I can say maybe 14. It's something that I just found interesting. And I started to do Duolingo games and stuff like that. And eventually I found a platform where people would exchange German learning material like books, and I started reading them. And I quickly began to get the structure of German better than I did French for some reason, when it came to maybe conjugations and stuff like that. And the pattern was the same as well. I'm an auditory learner. Um, the more I hear a language, the more I'm able to sort of absorb or mimic. And I habitually try to maybe um, put myself in the cultural space. If it's French, I want to listen to French music, or watch French cooking shows, and German music and stuff like that. And luckily for me, I have quite a number of German language learning partners on the Language Nerds course, and I'm really, really happy about that. I also have quite a few for French, and they're very helpful, and they sort of um, allow me to, maybe if I send a text message and something is wrong grammatically, or a phrase is incorrect, they give me corrections there. And yeah,
Cool.
and lastly, for Mandarin, the reason why I began learning Mandarin was because I have a brief background. I went to Beijing a couple years back, and for some reason, I just really loved how, their language was very different from all the other ones that I had learned before or that I could speak before. And them having a completely different alphabet. Obviously the French and the German ones are similar, but with this one, they had characters, and I thought, let's see how that goes. That's how I started learning Mandarin. So I just started with a small book called Learn Chinese Through English. It's a little red book. It basically, and it has pinyin as well, so I'm able to maybe correlate the pinyin to the character if I ever see it somewhere. I'm like, oh, I know that. I think I know that. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Okay. Is there anybody else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, that should be mostly everyone, I think. Okay. I just want to have a quick peek at the ones that typed in the chat because I didn't get to read those. So I'm beginner in German. I use memorize and make activities here. I use a detailed episode practice. Okay. Also passive listening and listen to podcasts, Duolingo events. Oh, cool. Duolingo event. That's good. Okay. Listening skills. Okay. Using some words and prefixes. Okay. English will speak automatically. Okay. Cool. And then Joni, Mandarin. Yeah, Joni, your Mandarin's quite good. So beginner. Joni intros per day, but not usually 1 or 2 at a time. And I'm usually teaching my child. Okay. And making new words with honest. The preterite super hard for me. I don't have anyone to speak with in Spanish. So I come speaking, I panic when I have to say anything. Okay. I'm seeing a common theme in a lot of people with the forming sentences. So we can talk about that in a second. I see a common theme in a lot of them. So finding a partner or tutor has been overwhelming and frustrating. Okay, good to know. Okay, we can talk about that too. Upper beginner, establish my routine. Okay, things changes. Okay. Okay, Amy. Yes. Reliable partners on HelloTalk is challenging. It is challenging. Yeah, it's very hard. It takes time, I find. It takes a lot of time. It's not quick. It's not a quick process. Yeah, it takes time. Or you get lucky. Either you get lucky or you get unlucky. Or some people, they just have a magnetic personality. Like you might have a very magnetic personality, so people want to talk with you, and this is very easy for you because you have great people skills. I've seen that too, but okay, we can talk about that too. And then these ones have already, okay. All right, so why don't we start to chat through some of the challenges that people are having. So I think a good way to do it is I'll share maybe one or two thoughts I have that can be helpful, and then I'll put it to the group, and maybe like a couple people can also share as well any advice that they have. So I just go to the top. So let's see here. So right now, so for yeah, so I guess Kaiman's not here anymore, but he'll watch the recording. That's fine. So for me, like one or two things for listening comprehension. I say it a lot. I said it in the video course as well. For me, I always focus on whenever I watch something or listen to something, I'm always trying to focus on two things. I'm focusing on what do I understand? And then I try and catch 10 to 20 things that I didn't understand, but I'm going to ask someone what it means. So I'm not sure where you guys are in the course, so I could just show you. Do I have it open? No, but I can probably, do I have it open here? I do have it open. Would you look at that? That's perfect. This one. Right, so this is personally my only focus when I listen, and I've seen this work for a lot of people, not just me. So it's based on quite a few people that do this, that works quite well, where I just focus on, the more beginner I am, the more I focus quite heavily on this first one here. Like I'm really listening for things that I actually understand, because when you learn a language, often what happens in my experience is, even though you learn something, when you hear it, it doesn't mean you actually understood what they said, or you actually even captured that they said that word. And then I'm just looking for 10 to 20 timestamps of things that are like, I wasn't quite sure what they meant, but I heard them say it, and I'm going to ask someone what it means. I don't even try to fully understand unless I have a stronger level. That's a little bit different. It's a little different then. If I have a stronger level, then yeah, I do try to understand more. But no, if it's like in Japanese, when I watch things in Japanese, like I'm super beginner. It's like I have no prayer of trying to understand everything. There's no hope. Like it's a hopeless task. So that's one thing. I was also talking to someone else the other day, who also made a pretty good point. I don't personally do it, but I do like the idea, where what he'll do is he'll listen to something. He'll listen to a video, for example, or watch a video, and he'll find, let's say he understands 25% of the video, let's say. Well, what he'll do is he'll then take that 25% he understood, and then he goes deeper into that 25%. So the example he gave was, I think with education, he likes education. So he's like, if I understood them, say, elementary school, I will then go back into YouTube and Google, search elementary school in that language, right? And then I'll watch or read more things about elementary school. So he'll pick the stuff that he understood, and he'll dig deeper into that. So he'll only focus on pulling out what he understood from a video or an audio or whatnot, and he digs further into it. I mean, that's one. There's a couple quick tips. I mean, there's lots of advice people can give. Is there anything in the group that people want to throw out for or share when it comes to listening comprehension?
Hi, I'm Danielle. I found, so I learned French and now I'm working on Spanish, and I found that, I guess in French it's dictates and in Spanish it's dictados. I actually don't know what it is in English, the word, but essentially listening to someone read a text and having to write down the words that they're saying, and then they will then reveal what the text is. It forces you to concentrate on every single word, every single syllable, because, as you had mentioned, in a sentence of 10 words, I understood the verb, I understood the subject, and maybe one noun, but I didn't understand all 10 words because I wasn't concentrating on all 10 words. So I find doing that sort of exercise, especially with French, where The sounds are very similar, but the spelling is not. Really helps me to go, okay, I said I, so then it can't be this ending. It has to be something else. You know, in this context, these two words can't be next to each other. I must have heard it wrong. And so I found doing those exercises, especially in the beginning, the elementary level, the A1, A2, even into B1 was super helpful for me.
That's good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, dictées are very boring, but very effective. Like they're boring. I remember doing them in school myself, and they were so terrible in terms of like they felt very boring. However, I do think they can be very effective. That is, I haven't thought of that in recent times. That's a good one. Anyone else?
Yeah, what I like as
Hello.
well is just using subtitles, I suppose. Subtitles in the language that I'm listening to, in the language that I'm learning. Because what you said earlier about you don't even recognize the word, even though you have actually learned it. If I hear it and see it written at the same time, I've got more chance to actually recognize this word and perhaps make a bit more sense of what I'm hearing as well. So I find that quite helpful.
Great. All right, let's go to someone else. So we got a couple things on listening. That's good. One thing I'm going to ask you right at the end, actually, as well today is I will ask everyone to like maybe just type in the chat or maybe share like one to two concrete things that you're like, this is something different I'm going to try in the next month based on what I've heard from other people's experiences. So maybe as people are sharing, let's try and catch one or two things like, I think that might help me. Karen, I had a quick question. For the different verb tenses, which tenses are hard for you?
It's like I fully understand all the grammar reasons behind all the tenses. It's just remembering the.
Okay.
I'm working a lot on past, but just remembering stupid things like the irregular verbs.
Oh, okay.
Having a chat about something and I have to stop and conjugate it, and it kind of breaks the flow. So I think I just need concrete practice and a little bit more.
I would agree. I don't think there's any rocket science with that one at the moment because I know you reasonably well, so I've spoken with you in Spanish quite a bit, and I know you reasonably well. So yeah, for you, I don't think there's any big rocket science with that one. I think with time, the neurons will fire faster on some of the ones because you really do know them. I think, and you
Exactly.
do get them up, to be honest, you do get them up pretty quickly. Actually, to be fair, last time I spoke to you in Spanish, it's probably a little bit harder on yourself than like what it seems like on the outside. Like when someone hears you speaking Spanish, you're actually reasonably strong with your tenses and you don't make that many mistakes, to be honest.
Gracias.
Yeah.
I think there are just too many online resources and you can sort of get analysis paralysis going, I should try this one. No, maybe this one. And so I found a course where they tell me what to do. I think
you need those
this point.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I always think like it's not really, who cares what the best method is, just pick one. If so and so's method's better, okay, well, good for you, then I mean that's great, but you sitting on the fence doesn't do you much good. So yeah, but
I'm sure we all have those days where you go down the rabbit hole as you look at this and then you look at that and then you realize 4 hours by and you haven't actually done anything. But check out different sites.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah, totally. So cool. Okay, let's keep going down here. So so pronunciation and so listening comprehension, I think, Sam, we talked a little bit about it. Is there anything there that helped you, or is there something, or maybe like you're still like, I don't know if that's going to help me? Oh, is Sam still here? Oh, maybe he's not here anymore. Oh, maybe Sam left, or he dropped off or something. Okay, well, that's too bad. We can, I suppose, too bad for pronunciation, unless he's in the chat. Well, he said goodbye earlier. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I guess anything, he'll watch the recording, so anything for pronunciation. I mean, I can share a couple things. I mean, I know a little bit about Arabic pronunciation, but I'm not like an expert in it. Because I used to study some Arabic, but I don't know it like French and Spanish. I mean, a couple of general things I can share about pronunciation is one thing I'll often do is I'll pick a certain word or phrase or letter that's harder for me, and I'll repeat it to myself 20 to 30 times a day. It takes about 3 minutes to do it. It's not a big task. I'll do it in the shower or something. So in French, I used to do with R's. I used to say, I used to practice with je crois que. I'd be like, je crois que, je crois que, je crois que, je crois que. I don't say just 20 to 30 times. It takes about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And I just practice it 20, 30 times a day. It trains your tongue, trains your muscles. It's like going to the gym. It's much easier than going to the gym, way less time consuming as well. But it's kind of like going to the gym. And it does, as long as you understand, as long as you do understand what to do with your mouth, and you actually do have some concept of what you're supposed to do, and you do know what it's supposed to sound like, I find that helps. And then I just once a week or once a month or occasionally I'll just check with the native speaker and make sure I haven't been practicing it wrong. That would be terrible if you're like, je crois que, je crois, oh, I can do it now. And then all of a sudden you're like, actually, no, it's not, but oh, crap. You know what I mean? But that can be really helpful. Any other tips people want to share for pronunciation?
For pronunciation, I found very useful, for example, doing something that is called shadowing. I mean, like to pick a video, maybe in YouTube, or it can be a movie, and then try to pronounce, like, hear what the people is saying, try to repeat it, like at the same time. It can be challenging, and that's why sometimes what I've been doing, I remember that when I started doing that, I got, for example, a book, and then I got the ebook. Sometimes you can find some audiobooks on YouTube. So I was like with the ebook and with the audiobook, and I was listening, reading, and repeating, like 3 things at the same time. It can be challenging, but I found that really helped me to remember, like, I'm seeing the word, I'm listening the word, and at the same time I'm saying this word. And I found that that really helped me a lot. I was doing that like for a couple of days. Right now I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm planning to like have a time to do that again, because I found that I felt that the time I was doing that, I really improved a lot. So that's my advice.
Yeah, shadowing's really good. That's a big one. It's like imitating what other people do, and like trying to speak the way they speak is a big one. Yeah, I mean, it can get you in trouble sometimes if you don't know what you're imitating. But that's a story for another day. I swore at a French girl once by mistake because I didn't know what the word meant, and I was copying what someone else said, and they're like, "Well, you can't say that." And I was like, "Oh no!" But no, generally speaking, it's a very good idea. Just be a little bit cautious. But no, it's a big. I'm just making a joke. It is a very good idea. It's an excellent idea.
I think recording yourself is good as well.
Recording yourself is too. Yep.
So you listen to something, and then you record yourself as you repeat it, and compare the two and see if it matches.
Yeah, totally. All right, Kiki. So let's see here. So I think I'm gonna give some. I think there's a lot of people who are sharing, so like either trying to get more comfortable speaking, as well as getting the words out of their mouth. So I'll share a couple things on that, and then I'll put it to the group as well. By the way, I'm just looking at the time. We're probably gonna go 15 minutes extra as I'm looking at the time. If you have to leave exactly at well, what for me 1:30, it'll be a different time for you. But if you have to leave exactly on time, that's not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem. In future ones, I'm gonna work on this format of these monthly calls to get it really, really good and really tight and make sure it's the most useful thing possible. But bear with me for this first one as I try and find the right format. So anyway, so for speaking, a couple of things I'll share that I've seen work for a lot of people that I've taught and spoken with. So number one, I would think about when you speak right now, how much comes out of your mouth? Is it like one word answers? Is it like one phrase? Are you getting out maybe a couple words? Like what's coming out of your mouth? And then I want you to set a rule for yourself that whatever that amount is, it has to be more every time you open your mouth. So when you open your mouth, so for example, I have a student from Japan right now that I teach. And I noticed with her, when she spoke, she always spoke in words, not sentences. So she put words together to make her meaning, and it would usually just be one phrase. So if I said, hey, What did you think of the fireworks last night? She would say, oh, fireworks, good, like lots. That would be her sentence. Fireworks, good, like lots. That would be her sentence. So when I noticed this is a pattern after about a month or two, and I told her, so when you open your mouth, every time you open your mouth, even if it takes you a long time, you have to sit there and think, you must have at least, first it was just at least one full sentence. That, like, you must be a full sentence. She knows how to, she does know how. She has the knowledge and she's able to. So one full sentence with a subject and like everything, a full sentence. And now she's at 3. So when she opens her mouth, always it's 3 sentences. So even if I say, hey, how was your day? It's not good. She'll be, oh, it was good. I went to my friend's house and I did this with him. It was really fun. So everything is 3. And now she actually expresses herself in much longer sentences. The other thing I'd say for getting comfortable speaking is I'd find someone that you're comfortable with. I'd pick one person that you talk to. I often, for myself, this is just me, this may not be everyone, but one thing you may want to consider is ask yourself, what kind of person would you want to talk to more that you feel comfortable with? I don't feel comfortable practicing languages of people I know because I feel awkward. I'd rather practice with someone I've never met before. And I develop and immediately start to practice with them. So I'd hire a tutor. I often hire tutors because I feel like if I'm paying them, then they can't judge me because I'm paying them. But if it's a language partner, I feel like, oh, maybe I'm being annoying or whatnot. So there's a few different things. Anything else people want to share about speaking? So there's a lot of people that shared that.
For speaking, I guess that the best way is to get a language partner or get a teacher. If, for example, some months ago, I was speaking with someone who was in the States, and she told me that she found very useful to talk with people, and I agree with her. I mean, since I've been speaking with native speakers, I found that this is pretty useful. At the beginning, it can be challenging. There are people that can feel like a lot of, can be afraid of that. But I think it's something you need to do. For example, with my partner from Indonesia, at the beginning, we were talking just by texting, but then I told her, I think we can talk maybe for some minutes. I think you know how to have a conversation. And she was telling me, no, I think that I will do very bad and I'm just afraid of talking. And I just said, I'm learning, you're learning, and it's okay to have mistakes. You can do a lot of mistakes, and that doesn't really matter. It's like, and we started talking a little bit, like sometimes some minutes, but right now we are able to have a very long conversation. For example, I remember a call that was almost 3 hours long. And I told her, I really happy that you're being improving a lot these days, and by speaking, having these calls, and I'm happy because you're improving. And I think that's the best way to do that, to improve speaking.
Awesome. Okay, so for this one here, like retaining information, so like vocabulary, I'll share one thing for me. So for me, it helps, whether it's grammar or vocabulary, I suppose it all comes down to the same thing. So I can go back over here. There's something on here that's quite similar to what helps me if I could find it. So I put like in the, if you guys might have seen this, I put a step on a page on how to learn grammar effectively. I think for me, this often works for vocabulary and grammar, or at least a modified format for grammar and for vocabulary, excuse me. So I do like having an organic exposure to things first, whether it's vocabulary or grammar, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. If it's vocabulary, there's no theory to learn. It's just a word or it's just a phrase. So there's not much theory, right? I might not complete worksheets and such, but I will, for example, I will actually create my own sentences if I find it's not sticking, right? I will pay attention to native speakers when they use that word, if it's a vocabulary point. I will make a special effort to use vocabulary when speaking or writing, if I'm really trying to get something in my head. So like, where is it? It's right behind me here. Oops. So for example, like I'm very beginner in Japanese, right? So one of the things that I'm learning a lot of animals right now in Japanese because the way I'm learning Japanese is a bit unique. I'm using a lot of these animal toys I have, and I'm learning using these animal toys, and I'm learning a lot about their sentence structure and their grammar and all sorts of different things. I'm learning quite a bit. I can say some very strange things, but it will help me because it's helping me understand the grammar. So I can tell you how the alligator is eating the snake. I can tell you how these guys are friends, but like the antelope is not their friend, or not antelope, but whatever. So I can do all sorts of the videos are on my website if you want to see them. They're quite entertaining. My tutors love the classes. But what I'm doing, like this to me is not, I don't think alligator wani. This is now wani to me because I've said it like 120 times at this point. And wani has swum in the ocean. My carpet behind me's blue. So wani's, it's like I pretend it's water. Wani's swum in the ocean. Wani's eaten the snake. Wani's been eaten by the snake. Wani's and all sorts of this, right? I know this is hebi. Hebi is also like snake. I just know. But that's because I've said it a bunch of times. I haven't written those to be honest, but I often will. I've said it a bunch of times. I've made interesting stories with them. I've physically grabbed them and played with them. There's so many like neural connections to it. And I don't know who is the person who said it here. I don't know, Erica, I'm not sure how you approach retaining info, but I would encourage you to try and retain it in a very comprehensive way. So are you doing something kinesthetic, something
Yeah, so
oral,
I
something listening, something different, and then over time it should stick.
yeah, I've done a couple little things. I hope you can hear me here.
Mhm.
But I've done a couple little things. So my husband and I are both trying to learn Spanish. His ability to retain things is fascinating because he can essentially hear something and read something and he knows it. So I am, working 10 times as hard as he would for it. But what I do is I've on our garage door, when he pulls in the garage and walks into the house, on the garage door, I literally have Post-it notes. Lesson 1, hola querido, hi honey, and then como estuvo tu día, how was your day? So literally, if you walk into my garage, you'll see Post-it notes on our door, and they're color coded, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and I just keep going with little tiny phrases. So I keep seeing it when I come in the house. He keeps seeing it, although I'm sure he hasn't memorized now, but I don't. I'm starting to, because I just started that. But also, like if I see a picture of an apple, I know it's manzana. One of the things I was listening to was an iBook, and the speaker of it, Paul Noble, he said, like, for the word I would like is quisiera, and I just could not retain it at all. And then he said in the lesson, just think of like a key on the Sierra Mountains. That immediately was some type of visual reference for me. So I literally think of a key in the Sierra Mountains, even though that makes no sense at all. But I had a visual reference in my head, even though I didn't see it at that moment. When he said that, I was able to retain that. But some of the other stuff, retaining it is just a struggle for me. And that's what's so frustrating. But I'm starting, I was in Spanish in college, which was quite a few years ago, and I just never kept up with it. So I think that's why I'm so frustrated, and I need to maybe not get as frustrated or not let it affect me as much, because I know it will come. I want it to come now, and it's just not.
Bet you a lot of people can relate to that. It's like, I just want it now, but it's not there. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. That's great.
Yes, I like that. I think to create a picture to retain a word, yeah, even a silly picture is sometimes
Yeah.
really, really helpful. Yeah.
I think here we've spoken. Who's calling me? Not sure who that is. Talk to him later. Let's see here. So we give us grammar and conjugation. So I guess we haven't talked a lot about grammar. I'll put it to the group to start. What helps you? I know what helps me. I mean, but what helps the group in terms of grammar and conjugations or even cases? I think one of the Polish is coming up, which I think has cases, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another extra layer to forms, like different forms of words. What kind of things work for the group here for grammar and conjugation?
I tend to like, oh,
Go ahead, Robin.
I tend to like color coordinate like the different pronouns, and then I will have on like a page, say present tense, and then like maybe the perfect, the imperfect, whatever. And they will always follow the exact same color, and that's the same for the like the subjunctive mood, the imperative mood, and whatever. And I make sure to keep that up all throughout, my language learning, that it's the same sort of color linked to that same pronoun, or maybe that same mood or that same tense, whatever.
Cool. Anything else for grammar? I see lots in the chat here.
For me, just writing like what I've done today, kind of like a journal, helps me to focus on my past tense. For me, I'm trying to transition from writing, because my writing is much better, to video so that I can actually practice my speaking. But having a moment to kind of see how I'm writing it will get me to be a little bit more aware of the structure in Spanish. So I will kind of just like write down like what I did today.
Right. Cool. Okay. What I'm going to do for time's sake, because I don't want to keep you guys, I already know we've gone a little extra. I already got a better idea for next time. It's going to save us on time. In advance, I'm going to have you send me some of this information, and I'll have it compiled in advance so we can just like immediately get started. That'll save us some time, I think. So I'll do that for next time. Thank you for your patience while I figure out the best way to do this. So appreciate it. Let's go a bit of a lightning round. I'll just share a couple quick things on everyone's. So I think for tenses, I think so. The color coding is great. I think the journalings are really good. On journalings, and you do every single day, and I would practice writing and trying to use these different tenses. I would get maybe 1 or 2 of the journal entries corrected per month. You can correct them. You can get them all corrected per month if you want to, but it might get overwhelming with all the corrections, and it might be like a lot. So even just 1 or 2 a month and getting them corrected is fine. The rest, if there's mistakes, no big deal. Let's see here. So being consistent, I find if it's something you really struggle with, you just got to find someone to keep you accountable. If you can't keep yourself accountable, you got to find someone to keep you accountable. In my experience of working with thousands of people, seems to be the only thing that really always works. I mean, there are other things too, but that's the most consistent thing that works. Speaking, we've talked a lot about if it's hard to get words out of your mouth, one thing that'll work for a lot of people, not just you, Robin, would be if you spend 15 to 30 minutes a day where you actually have to think all of your thoughts out loud in their target language. It's really hard for people. It's actually harder than I thought it would be for people, but it is very effective. And you can do that on your own. You don't need to do that with anybody. Let's see here. Yes, for finding reliable partners, it's a numbers game. I find it is a numbers game of just asking more people then. And you will hopefully eventually find someone you should eventually find someone who's reliable. If you're finding everyone's unreliable, then you might have to look yourself in the mirror and figure out, why are people being unreliable with me? If you had like 25 unreliable people, it's probably not them, it's probably something with you. Worth thinking about. If it's been like 2 unreliable people, well, no, you got to keep asking more people. I usually ask about 100 up to 100 plus people until I find someone. Usually it's less than that before I find someone reliable, usually. but I might go through 10 unreliable people before I find one that's actually reliable. That is quite common in my experience. If that's you don't want to go through that process, you can find very affordable tutors on italki. There's a link on my website for it. You can just go on italki. You'll find very affordable tutors. You can pay someone $10 an hour, $9 an hour. And it's basically speaking partner, but because you're paying them $9 an hour, they're going to be reliable. You could, of course, hire someone through a business as well if you want to, except we're more expensive than $9 an hour. And if you just need like a buddy to talk to, there's better ways. There's better options in my business. What else here? Routine. Yeah, figure out a schedule. Yeah, so same thing here for a schedule. I mean, what would I say on finding a schedule? I would say start small, I would say, right? Start small and work your way up. So maybe you say every Monday, first you have to be consistent on 1 day a week of doing something. It's very difficult to try and make a very complex schedule and follow it. It's probably not going to work unless you are a very scheduled person. Like I live based on a calendar. I won't open it because it's people's names and all sorts of stuff there, and maybe they don't want it shown online, but like I have like 10 plus meetings a day. So, but that's just me. So if you don't live that way, it's very difficult to stick to a schedule if you're not used to it, especially with family and children, a lot of unpredictable things. So sticking to something that's small first, working your way up. Also scheduling things at times of the day where you don't have anything typically going on. So mornings before your day starts, evenings after your day's ended, or if you have any gaps where the kids are sleeping or something like that, those are good times to plan for. Language partner, we talked about that. Relearning vocab, you're finding my course. Finding it, yeah, I am curious actually, Emily, why is it overwhelming or frustrating? If you're still here. Might have left actually. I know some people left because we're over time. Oh yeah, she had to go. I see her there. Oh, it's too bad. Okay. Let's see here. The preterite is super hard. For the preterite, keeping a journal will work. Just keep a journal of what you did every day. Within 30 days, you'll have a very good grasp on it. At least for the yo form. You'll be very, very good. You'll have it. Promise you. 30 days, every day, keep a journal, you'll have it. I've done that bajillion times to different people, it works. At least for the yo form. It's not great for tu and other forms, but at least for yo, you'll be very comfortable within 30 days. If you did stuff with other people, then you could even use nosotros. Or if you're like, your friend did something, but you didn't, you can push yourself to say, oh, and then he did this. You can push yourself, but that will work. I panic when I have to say anything. I would probably start with talking to yourself and recording yourself. You're probably going to panic even doing just that, I would imagine. So get over that first. Then I would, I'd start with that. See if you can, because I find a lot of people who panic to speak. They even panic to like speak into their phone. They can't even do that. Or speak into a camera. They can't even do that. So I'd start there. If you panic, if it really is panic, you have to say anything to someone. So. That's a good place to start anyway. Oh, Jaime, I guess didn't really share much that he wanted input on, so okay. Hey, also, I think, Joni, maybe you and Jaime want to connect if Jaime wants to, because he looks like a very friendly guy. He's talking to all sorts of people every week. So, I mean, maybe you guys want to connect actually for Spanish. And then he'll be patient with you and he won't judge you and he'll work with you over that initial panic if Jaime has time, of course. I don't want to put you in a position.
It can be,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I have not like big problems. Maybe reading, it can be a little bit challenging, but what I'm trying to do right now is like reading aloud. That can be a little bit frustrating. Yeah, because I don't know like how to say some words. That's why I'm improving reading with my teacher.
Great, awesome. And then I see a common theme with Özlem and it's not Sybil, is it? I don't think it's Sybil. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Sybil?
Yeah, Sibylla.
Sibylla, okay, yeah. so a common theme. So when it comes to really complex grammar, like Polish has some, grammar's got their prefixes and such, German's got prefixes and such. One thing that can really help is that if you learn on a phrase level to start. So for example, I'll give a Japanese equivalent. Japanese has got a weird thing with particles that I'm learning now. And it's like a weird grammatical point. So like, for example, there's something with these, well, it's not important. There's these two types of forms that I can't quite figure out when to use which one. And I haven't really formally studied it, but apparently it's really hard. So all I've done, go back to my animals, is I've learned certain phrases that will use one grammar point, and I've just done it on a phrase level to start. I'm not worrying about the whole grammar point. That can be a good way to start. Once you know enough phrases that use a grammar point, your brain often starts to put the puzzle pieces together, I found. I've experienced that with Mandarin. There's a really complex grammar point in Mandarin that makes absolutely no sense in English. It's so strange. Same with French and Spanish, like the subjunctive, especially Spanish past subjunctives, doesn't make any sense to an English learner. It's so strange. Gujarati's got some really odd ones too, where it's like they have cases, but only cases in certain times, which is odd. It's very strange, but that will generally work. That's how I had to figure it out, and I've had a lot of students that figure it out like that too, where you start with phrases. Speaking is not too hard. Sentence structure, that journaling will work. If you journal and focus on getting the sentence structure right, and just do that for a few months and get them corrected and focus you can even track your errors and see how many errors you make and see if your number of errors is going down over time. It's a good way to track it. So, okay. So I suppose we can wrap it up there. I wanted to hopefully get some feedback on the course, but we're already over time. So maybe if you have any feedback, if you want to stick around a little extra, you can share some feedback, but I don't want to keep you too long. If not, you can maybe message me privately. Next time, to save time, what I'll do is I'll just have you send what we did in the first half. I'll have you send it to me in advance. That way it's all already prepared and we can really spend our time on like helping you problem solve different things that you're struggling with. So hopefully that was still helpful for people, and hopefully it was still good despite maybe being a little bit choppier than it will be in the future. Any final notes people had or final comments you wanted to make?
Oh, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was awesome for a first start. I mean, initially it's great.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I guess I will let you go.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye,
See you next time.
Kiki.
Thank you.
Bye.